Now we are looking at strong to potentially severe thunderstorms. We're going to be tracking the latest with those details coming up.
It's Super Tuesday and the GOP is more divided than ever as Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton eye big wins. I'm Weijia Zhang in Washington with the latest coming up.
Police are stepping up patrols in a Lexington neighborhood after shots were fired into a house where children were sleeping.
How friends are helping a Lexington firefighter who's in a tough battle against cancer.
WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Good morning to you. Bill Bryan and Barbara Bailey here for WKYT News. Glad you're along with us. You notice the skies are starting to darken out there off to the west especially. Looks like storms are at our doorstep.
I know, and we are tracking a line of storms that could come in, could be rather strong. WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris has an update on this WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day.
Yeah, gusty winds, a lot of lightning, very loud storms as they pass on by. Already seeing those storms up toward the far northern portion of our viewing area. That's not your severe weather threat. Obviously, this is your severe weather threat, and it's coming together. It's heading our direction. Remember, there is a low-end severe weather risk with this. That doesn't mean we're not going to have any. Just saying it's on the lower end. Still, strong storms are coming together. They will start firing away here in the next couple of hours, right along the I-65 corridor within the next 2 hours. So I'd say roughly noontime is when that severe weather threat comes about, and then it slides eastbound. Look what the Storm Prediction Center has now done. Slight risk was actually involved for much of our region. Now it's moved it south of I-64, but still a marginal risk for everybody else. That means that it's actually even lower than what we were looking at this morning. So things are still coming together. You're still going to have strong storms, don't get me wrong, a lot of heavy rain, very gusty winds. But in terms of widespread severe weather, we won't see that today. Now I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to show you hour-by-hour timing coming up.
We'll see you then. Thank you. In the news, across America, it is Super Tuesday, and more delegates are up for grabs today than any other day in the presidential nomination contest.
Now, the latest polls show Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton leading in key states. Weijia Zhang has the latest now from Washington.
Polls are now open at sites across the country as Americans in a dozen states head out to vote. Last night, Donald Trump already predicted a Super Tuesday victory during a rally in Georgia.
We're going to win with our military. We're going to win, 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 win.
Latest polls show the Republican presidential frontrunner leading both nationally and in several key states. Marco Rubio has tried to halt the billionaire's momentum, hammering him for days, most recently for failing to immediately disavow former KKK leader David Duke, who announced his support for Trump.
There is no room in the conservative movement for the KKK or David Duke or anyone who will not condemn them.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz is banking on a win in his home state to keep his campaign alive. Political analysts expect Hillary Clinton to pick up many more delegates than Bernie Sanders today, and that could make it tough for him to catch up.
What we need to do together is make America whole again.
Sanders voted at a polling station in his home state of Vermont this morning.
I am confident that if there is a large voter turnout today across this country, we are going to do well.
The Vermont senator says he intends to take his campaign all the way to the Democratic convention. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Washington.
Now, the biggest prize of the day is Texas, with 155 Republican delegates and 252 total Democratic delegates.
Several Republican presidential candidates are eyeing the Commonwealth of Kentucky this week. Donald Trump is spending part of this afternoon, Super Tuesday, in Louisville. He'll be at the Kentucky International Convention Center, where they expect a crowd. And Senator Marco Rubio has also scheduled a campaign stop here in the Bluegrass. We do know that Rubio will be in Lexington Friday, ahead of Kentucky's GOP caucus on Saturday. By having an early caucus this year, the Commonwealth wields more influence on the presidential election process. For Kentucky voters, the caucus will be somewhat similar to a regular election, but instead of going to the polls, that is to your local precinct, you will have to locate the caucus in your county. Now, you can find that information at WKYT.com.
Scary moments this morning for some Lexington students when their school bus was involved in a crash. It happened a little before 8 o'clock this morning at Old Richmond Road and Richmond Road. Police say a car crashed into an SUV, sending that SUV into the back of the bus. Nearly 40 people were on the bus. All of the students attend Henry Clay High School. No one was hurt. There's a continuing sense of unease because of that radioactive waste that was illegally dumped at an Estill County landfill. Tonight, concerned citizens can ask questions during a public forum. The judge executive says preliminary results of air and water tests near the landfill show everything is normal. Still, many people want to know how this was allowed to happen and why it took so long to discover. Tonight's forum is at 6 o'clock at Estill County High School.
Lexington police are right now searching for the shooter who fired into a home where 3 people were sleeping inside. It was a close call, but investigators say no one was hurt because the adult and 2 children were sleeping in back bedrooms. The shooting happened around 3:30 this morning on Newcastle Street in the Cardinal Valley neighborhood. Police have stepped up patrols in that neighborhood while they try to figure out why the home was targeted and who fired at the house. The case against a man accused in a Lexington murder has now been waived to the grand jury. Clarence Taylor is accused of fatally shooting LaRoz Mitchell last month outside a strip club on Richmond Road. During today's preliminary hearing, police testified that Taylor admitted to shooting Mitchell. Taylor's bond has been set at $250,000.
3 recent gas station robberies in central Kentucky may be connected. Yesterday morning, we told you about a robbery at the Double Quick on US 27 in Jessamine County. Now, in this surveillance video, you can see 3 masked men pull guns on the clerk and a customer. This comes after a Speedway in Richmond was robbed Sunday morning, followed by a robbery at a Circle K in Lexington hours later. Nicholasville police say there are similarities in all 3 cases. No arrests have been made. A state lawmaker has filed a bill that would keep the state's health insurance exchange and the expanded Medicaid program in place. Representative Daryl Owens, a Democrat from Louisville, says losing Connect and the Medicaid expansion will hurt thousands of people across the state. Governor Matt Bevin has vowed to dismantle Connect by the end of the year. He says it costs the state too much money.
The Kentucky Senate has passed a bill that would require doctors to perform ultrasounds prior to abortions and to describe to the mother what they are seeing. The bill now heads over to the House. Earlier this legislative session, Kentucky lawmakers approved a bill that updates the state's informed consent law. Governor Bevin signed that into law.
President Obama is meeting with the Senate Republican leaders at this hour. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky has vowed to block the president's Supreme Court nominee, no matter who it is. Today's face-to-face meeting is the first between the top party leaders since Justice Antonin Scalia's unexpected death last month set off a clash over the Supreme Court. His fight against cancer has drawn support from around the country.
Lexington firefighter Matt Logsdon has now returned home from Chicago after his first round of treatment. Logsdon lives in Louisville, and last night his friends held a fundraiser there to help him and his family, and he stopped by to show his thanks.
It just shows me that, being a fireman, the brotherhood just goes beyond the truck. It's not just something you do, it's not just your job, it's something that you are. And it means something to people.
Another fundraiser is planned for today. Lexington's Double H Barbecue on Versailles Road will donate 10% of its proceeds to the Logsdon family. Well, the Kentucky Wildcats are in Florida today for their next to last game of the regular season.
And Coach John Calipari is tweaking again. He says he's trying to build confidence and change the way his big men think about playing. Calipari has successfully tweaked before. 2 years ago before the SEC tournament. Tonight's game in Gainesville is at 7 o'clock on ESPN.
All right, we need this one.
Let's see what happens with the latest tweaking.
Yes, right.
Well, keep it right here this mid-morning. Can you believe that 4 pounds can be considered obese?
Well, coming up, you'll meet a hedgehog who's trying to slim down, having some success, by the way.
And we're already seeing those thunderstorms take shape back toward the west, heading toward the 65 corridor. We still have a little bit before they actually move into the region, and I'm going to track the timing on that coming up in just a few minutes. We are looking out and about and seeing these storms roll on through. The timing on this, it will start to kick off here in the next couple of hours. I-65 corridor, there is your look as these storms get a little bit closer throughout the next hour or two. Now, you're getting some storms popping up before that, but the severe threat is still back toward Owensboro. A few storms down towards, say, Bowling Green and making their way out of Tennessee, heading northeast if you're sitting around Taylor, Greene, and also Adair County and work your way into Russell County. These storms will move on in here in just the next, I would say, 30 minutes to about an hour. But these storms back toward the west, the severe threat actually moves in our western zones and just about, I would say about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So right around midday is probably your best bet across I-65 now through 1 p.m. in that area. And then we head off towards, say, I-75, 127 rolling through Frankfort, 27 heading down toward the far southern half of our viewing area into, say, Pulaski County. That region, even the BG Parkway, anywhere from 1 p.m. to about 4 p.m. 4 p.m. being more like your Moorhead, London. That's your best bet down south. 3 to 4 p.m. in London, and then it slides eastbound as we head throughout the late afternoon off into early evening. So that's going to be the time frame on this. I would say the storms, the severe threat. Remember, these aren't just thunderstorm timing. This is the severe timing. And remember, severe is very low, but it will move on out of here by 6, 7 p.m. later on this afternoon and evening. So it gets out of here pretty quick. It's mainly during the afternoons. There's the look. Strong winds. Yeah, it's just above low. I mean, it's still a low shot at that. Tornadic activity or flooding, that's still relatively low too. So this is a low and severe weather threat, but it's still something to watch very closely as we slide throughout the next few hours, especially that 1 p.m. to about 5 p.m. time frame. That is your best bet to see them roll across the region. And here's your look going in off into the night and into tomorrow. We go from 65 today to 37 tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be a big drop of temperatures in just a short amount of time. Very cold air swinging on in here, and that will collide with a few pieces of moisture, which will give us some flakes, some flurries overnight into tomorrow. Do not expect your kids to be out of school tomorrow. It's not going to work like that. Warm grounds, light snow, those two combos don't really work out for the kids trying to get out of school. So no accumulation is expected. Thursday, rain and snow, no accumulation expected with that one. And then, guys, I want you to pay attention toward next week. Big 7-0, that kind of stands out there on the screen.
Love to pay attention to that.
Yeah, that's a spring feel right there on Monday. Good looking weather ahead. It's just today's kind of your ugly day in the forecast.
All right, well, it's like that, a little bumpy here this time of year,
absolutely.
But we'll look forward to that next week. Well, a hedgehog who tipped the scales is going on a diet.
This little guy only weighs a little more than 4 pounds, but that's 3 times the average weight for wild hedgehogs. He's so fat he can't curl up into a protective ball if predators approach. Staff at a wildlife rescue center in England are now in charge of helping Jabba lose weight before releasing him back into the wild.
I'm a big Star Wars fan, really, so I saw a slight resemblance with Jabba and the Star Wars crime boss. So, I mean, personality-wise, he's far from it, but looks, he's a little resemblance.
Well, Jabba has quit his favorite snack of mealworms and is now on a strict regimen of liquid dog food. He's already lost about 1 pound and can now roll into a ball, so that's important. It's working.
Right. Just
stick to that.
Progress there, Jabba. Just stick to it, right?
Yeah, the liquid dog food.
It's on his spring break diet, I guess.
You're right. Well, Bob Dylan fans get a birthday gift of sorts, and the ratings are in for Sunday's Academy Awards.
Suzanne Marquez has your eye on entertainment.
Please welcome your host. Viewership for the Academy Awards continues to slide. Ratings for the show dropped to the lowest level in 7 years, despite widespread praise for host Chris Rock and how he handled the Oscars diversity controversy. Classic photos of Bob Dylan are on display at the Grammy Museum in Los Angeles. The exhibit features more than 50 images of the singer-songwriter during a pivotal time in his career as he transitioned from folk music to rock and roll.
New York-based photographer Daniel Kramer took the photos between 1964 and 1965.
The exhibit will be on display until May 24th, Dylan's 75th birthday. CBS announced it has renewed NCIS starring Mark Harmon for another 2 years. Currently in its 13th season, the series is television's top-ranked drama. And actor George Kennedy has died at age 91. Kennedy had roles in more than 200 movies and television shows. His breakthrough came with the 1967 movie Cool Hand Luke, and he won an Oscar for his role. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Suzanne Marquez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Well, he's going to be missed, certainly.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Very memorable roles.
It's good to have you along with us on Mid-Morning here on WKYT, and the first day of March, celebrating Dr. Seuss's birthday by reading.
Details about Read Across America Day, and we have a special guest after the break.
And tonight's Mega Millions jackpot, $135 million. And Wednesday night's Powerball jackpot is $292 million. Stay with us here on WKYT. It's Mid-Morning on WKYT. We're glad you're along with us. What better way to celebrate the love of reading than with the Cat in the Hat, who's with us today. To mark Dr. Seuss's birthday, the annual Read Across America is taking place.
We're happy to have Jessica Heiler, the president of the Fayette County Education Association, here with us, along with the Cat in the Hat. Welcome. So
the
glad
tall
to have
cat
you in here.
Yes. Thank you for having us.
Hard to fit that all in the picture.
Well,
so nice to have you, Cat.
Yeah, glad to have you in. Tell us about Read Across America, what it's all about.
Well, this is the 18th year that NEA has been doing Read Across America. It's the 7th year we've been doing a local event here in Fayette County. So we have our event at Fayette Mall. It'll be Friday, March the 5th from 10 to 3. And kids of all ages are welcome to come. The Cat will be there along with his two friends, Thing 1 and Thing 2. And they will be there to take pictures, so please, parents, bring your cameras. We'll have goodie bags, which the Cat is holding, and something new in our goodie bags this year, the first 300 kids will have a book in their goodie bags. So we're very excited about that.
Yeah, we'll get everybody out there really early.
Yes.
It always is a fun day, but also very important. Why do you think it's so important to do this?
Well, it's important that kids learn the value of reading. So when they see adults reading, and that it's important to the adults, I think it really makes a huge impact on the kids. When they see celebrity readers that we have from around the county that'll be there to read around the state, I think they see it's really important to sit down with a good book every day.
Is it any surprise to you that we're seeing a turnaround, that bookstores are opening back up and all of a sudden people are going back to craving those books?
Yeah, I think there's something about holding a book in your hand that's special, especially for kids, because that's part of the experience, to turn the page and to understand where to begin the book and where it ends and how to hold it correctly. So I think that's really important for our younger kids.
And something you find about Dr. Seuss books is they never get old.
No.
They're always so precious there. What are some of the favorite books out there that the kids like to hear?
Oh, they love Cat in the Hat, of course.
Of course. Well, of course.
They love Horton Hears a Who. They love Green Eggs and Ham. Those are some of the Dr. Seuss favorites, and we'll have all of those.
And as soon as you start talking about that, it kind of takes you back in time, remembering that.
How can people take part?
Well, they come Saturday, March 5th to the mall, and we're right there where Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny is, right outside of Dillard's and the Disney store right there. And 10 to 3, so they just stop by anytime between 10 and 3.
I want to clarify, it is Saturday, March 5th, right?
Did I
10
say
to 3.
Saturday?
You did, but the first time I think you said another day, but it is Saturday.
It is Saturday.
It is Saturday, March the 5th.
Well, and even though this is with celebrity readers, it's always important to do that at home.
Absolutely. It's really important.
Nothing better than that, reading with your child.
That your kids see you modeling, even if you're not reading to them, but just they can see you reading. It's very important.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cat in the Hat.
Thank you, Cat. All right. Well, keep it right here this mid-morning.
We'll check in with the Mr. Food Test Kitchen next and see what is cooking up today.
Glad you're along today by starting off with a few frozen favorites. You can throw a delicious dish together in just 15 minutes.
Whip it up. Today in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, it's barbecue chicken tart.
Whenever we hear about ways to save time or money, we're always excited to share them with you. And since today's the first day of March, we're kicking off National Frozen Food Month. It's the perfect time to check out all that the freezer section has to offer, not to mention all the savings. Nothing starts our day off better than a hearty breakfast. And with all the options in the freezer aisle, getting going has never been easier. And if you haven't seen the new assortment of frozen single portions or family-size entrees with cuisines from around the world, are you ever in for a treat? You know, here in the test kitchen, we love our vegetables. And since frozen ones are often fresher than fresh, we always keep an assortment of them on hand. And if you've got a sweet tooth, the freezer aisle has all kinds of desserts, from ready-to-bake ones to treats that we simply thaw and serve. Now let me show you a quick throw-together dinner that starts off using a few frozen favorites. It's simply frozen puff pastry drizzled with barbecue sauce and topped with frozen chicken strips before getting baked. Once it comes out of the oven, we top it with a fresh-tasting fruit salsa that we made from frozen pineapple and mango. So why don't you go online and get the recipe for our barbecue chicken tart? It's that good. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. The next time you're at the market, make sure you take a fresh look at all the freezer case has to offer. Because when you do, it'll have you saying, ooh, it's so good.
That looks pretty good.
I knew you'd like that one. You went for pizza yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so here's what we're looking at the rest of the day. We're starting to see those storms increase toward I-65. Expect that around our region, just over 65 into the western zones here in the next couple of hours. That'll be roughly noontime or just after. So we're going to be talking about that at noon, the timing on that, and also the effects, all the updates from the models that come on, and we'll have that coming up.
Okay, and we'll have the latest news. Hope you'll join us back here at noon.
See you then.